Hi guys, so in this one let's talk about the fear of rejection. I feel like it's something that a lot of us go through in life, right? Something a lot of us are kind of, um, it's always in the back of our mind, right? And when we go through our, different lives and different experiences, we're gonna want to attain different things, right? Whether it's a different relationship or maybe a relationship period, right? Or maybe a different job or a job in general, like I said, right? Or maybe you're an entrepreneur and you want to raise some money, right? I mean, the examples are endless, right? But we are so scared and fearful of getting rejected, right? And partially why that tends to happen is, our we tend to live in our ego, and our ego tends to, get hurt when something kind of doesn't go our way, right? Or doesn't happen because it takes um, offense, right? To whatever happened. It gets a little guilty maybe, or a little shameful, right? So it's a very strange thing when you really observe it, right? But how to really overcome it, right? In any situation, right? This can be applied to anything, is to look at the worst case scenario. I've done this in my own life, and it really does work, right? Let's say, let's use some examples, right? Let's say you wanna find a partner, right? You in your dating life, right? It doesn't have to be, just business or whatever else. Let's say in your dating life, and you're scared to approach, that guy or that girl, right? But sit down and really think. Let's say you approach them, and you usually not everybody is gonna be as kind of, standoffish as you think, right? Because that's also your ego already trying to make excuses why you shouldn't approach somebody, right? Because you're like, oh, what if they're like this, and what if they're rude or mean? And the reality is, most people will not be like this, right? So when you think about it like that, let's say you approach somebody and you try to start a conversation, and they're not having any of it, right? And you are still yourself, and you're still polite. You don't respond in a negative way, right? You say, thank you for your time, and you walk away. What happened, right? What really happened? Was it that horrible, right? Did you worst case scenario, you're like, did you die? Do you want to hide under a rock and never come out? The ego is very fragile, right? But when you think about it like that, worst case scenario, nothing is that scary, right? Or let's use talk about the example of, maybe you want a different job, right? So you go on interviews, and like, you're scared, what if they don't like me? What if I come off as, like somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about in relation to my particular job or something, right? You start going through those scenarios. Sit down and think about it. Okay, so what's the worst thing that will happen? You're not going to get the job, right? It's not like they're going to tell the entire world, what happened. It's not that serious. Whatever you want to apply this to, you can apply it to. Like I said, I used kind of like, approaching maybe for dating, or, you want a job and you go on interviews, right? Let's say you're an entrepreneur, right? Like I mentioned earlier, and you try to raise money for your business, right? Maybe you need some seed money, and you go around pitching your ideas and stuff. You're gonna hear a lot of no's, right? But nothing really happened. I need you to understand, right? I know sometimes it feels uncomfortable, and maybe you get a little embarrassed if something doesn't go your way. But look back on your life. Did anything serious come out of it? Did you get hurt? Did you pass out? Did you die, right? Did you, well, you wouldn't be here, right, watching this. um did something monumental happen, right? Usually it's nothing serious, it's something little, but we prop it up to be something so huge, something so grand that, like, oh, if it doesn't go your way, if the person says no thank you, right, it's gonna, like, we have to go home and hide for a week. The truth is, and this is very helpful, kind of a tip how to also see things differently. One, I'm sorry to tell you this, but nobody cares about you as much as you think, and nobody thinks about you as much as you think, right? Sometimes we have interactions with people, and then we're like, oh my gosh, what is that person gonna think? And the truth is, that person is so busy with their own stuff, their own life, their own, even, insecurities and projections or whatever it is, that they don't even think twice about what happened, their interactions with you. And here you're at home a week later, 2 weeks later, sitting still, being very insecure and thinking about it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. That person has already moved on. They're living their life. They're already, like I said, dealing with their own issues, and you're still sitting there and thinking about it, what happened, right? Because our ego, like I said, gets hurt, but our ego is very sensitive, right? So it attaches to those things, and then to find some comfort in it, in a strange way, tries to replay those things that happened, right? So it can continue to live out whatever happened over and over and over, therefore validating your insecurity or whatever it is, right? So, like I said, please, before you try, sit down, calm down, first of all, because your mind is going to come up with 1,000 reasons why you shouldn't do something, right? And honestly, really think about what's going to happen, what can happen, and go to the worst case scenario. When you do that, in a way, it kind of opens up this freedom where you are able to step outside of your kind of like fear, your insecurity, and see how silly it is for you to be so afraid to do whatever you're trying to do, right? um, and most of the time, like I said, you're gonna see it as kind of funny. Well, nothing's really gonna happen. And when you use that helpful tip, think about, the other person kind of just being in their own world, moving on with, you're gonna see, okay, so that person's probably gonna forget the next day, right? And it's not the end of the world, right? So just think about that, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. And if any of this was helpful and you made it through the whole video, please subscribe, share, and make some comments as to what how kind of you get over your fears, your insecurities, right? And you still do it, so you still, get out there and try, right? Because that's the key, to try. So thanks guys, see you in the next one.